Now let's talk about the chapter with the charging. I think that's basically the most important chapter about an EV car, and I'm going to be introducing to you 4 options of charging, because you're not permanently driving at service stations on the highway, so we have different kinds of charging possibilities, and this is charging possibility number 1 that I will introduce now to you, the DC rapid charging. But before I do that, don't forget to get forwarded to my video in a few seconds by clicking on top right, where I'm talking about the rapidgate. The rapidgate is one of the biggest issues about the Nissan Leaf, and in this video you can see if the rapidgate really happens or not. If you don't know what rapidgate is, I'm going to explain it now quickly. The Nissan Leaf doesn't have a thermal management, so compared to the Hyundai Ioniq or the BMW i3 or the Teslas, there is no battery temperature system that balances the temperature of the battery cells. Because if you're driving on hot summer days, just like today, 25 degrees, and you're doing rapid charging, or you're driving fast on the highway, the battery cells could overheat. And if they do so, you have to accept the fact that it could happen to you that the car throttles down the charging speed for avoiding an overheating of the battery cells. And that of course could mean that you have to spend the double time at the charger than normally planned. So if you'd like to find out if the rapidgate really happens, then click on top right now and get forwarded to my rapidgate video where I'm checking it out, 25 degrees, after having driven quite fast on the highway, just for checking out realistic circumstances and by having used the air condition. Now let's talk about this charging option. As I already explained or mentioned, this is a DC rapid charger, a triple charger. Triple chargers are the chargers that you can find mostly next to highways at service stations. And the name triple charger, you can see where it's coming from. It has 3 plugs. Plug number 1 is an AC 22 kilowatt charger. Plug number 2 is the DC CHAdeMO that we are just using. And plug number 3 is the DC CCS plug. CCS charging is for cars like Hyundai Ioniq, BMW i3, and CHAdeMO chargers are mostly for cars from the Asian market, just like the Nissan Leaf. And you have one advantage: if you've got BMW i3s or Hyundai Ioniqs standing at the service station while you would like to charge, you can be sure that they're not occupying the CHAdeMOs, because there is not so many cars using CHAdeMO. And there's basically no difference. Both can charge with 50 kilowatts. The AC can charge with 22 kilowatts. You also have an AC 22 kilowatt charging slot in the Nissan Leaf, but I don't recommend you to use it if you have access to a triple charger. Use the CHAdeMO, because this can give you 50 kilowatts and this 22, but with the Nissan Leaf it's even less, because it's limited to 6.6 kilowatts, but I'm going to explain to you more about that later in the other charging options that we have. So the normal circumstances should be that you are charging with 50 kilowatts, and if you do some maths, you can calculate your battery has 40 kilowatt hours, and if you're charging with 50 kilowatts, normally you should have charged your car within an hour, or even a bit less, because you mostly never arrive with 0%, mostly you do it with 20, maybe 10%, and of course like this you're closer to the maximum. There are even other chargers coming up, rising from the ground, the super rapid chargers with 350 kilowatts. But in my eyes that's totally senseless nowadays, because a Nissan Leaf, for example, if you buy it or consider to buy it, it can maximum take 50 kilowatts. So even if you are at a charger with 350 kilowatts, you cannot take more than 50. A Hyundai Ioniq maybe can take 70, for example, a bit more than the Nissan Leaf can. So in my eyes, they should do something else than building up these super fast chargers, because we can't deal with them right now in 2018, 2019. Another thing that I would like to have is more common solutions for paying for the charging, because as you can see, this is a charger from ENBW, but the next charger is maybe from a different company, just like Ionity. or maybe even a totally different company, because these chargers aren't one common company offering these chargers. You always have to carry around these charging cards, and for each of these charging companies you need a charging card, and that's a bit annoying. Imagine that you'd like to go spontaneously to another country, just like what's close to Munich here where I live, Italy, Austria. First you need to sit down and inform yourself which charging cards do I need, and that takes time and that's annoying. I think the best solution would be just to pay by credit card, and then it doesn't matter which charging station you are using currently, you can pay by credit card, and that's the most common solution. I think that will arrive with the time, but I think it's a bit urgent now, so they should just hurry up a bit, especially by building up the network of chargers in places like Germany, because we're far behind countries like Norway, for example, where you have these chargers standing around everywhere, and in Germany it's not really the same. So if you're lucky, even on a sunny day like now, 25 degrees, having driven quite fast on the highway, you can charge within about 45 minutes if you have no rapidgate. Don't forget to check out my rapidgate video by finding the link below in my description box. And now I will take you to charging option number 2. Number 2 is the AC 22 kilowatt charger that you can find maybe just like here in a supermarket's parking space. There is different kinds of 22 kilowatt chargers AC because they differ. I will explain to you why, but now let's get it started here, because this one has a CHAdeMO slot, and this is basically what perfectly matches to the Nissan Leaf's charging slot, and I will show you how this works. You can open the cap with the key like this and immediately plugging in the CHAdeMO like this. Now the info screen gives you the possibility of starting the charging CHAdeMO. You just have to choose it, start to charge, and immediately it does. It shows you that you have 40% of battery capacity left, and here you can see the time of the charging and the energy in kilowatt hours that the charging station gives to your car. Start charging. Now we are charging with 22 kilowatts basically. Mostly you have charging losses, so this means that you never charge with the full amount of power that a charger can give you. But we can check it out on a computer how much it gives us, so I think it will be about 17. So here you can see the time, and just like I said, it's going to be 17 kilowatts. It takes 17 kilowatts right now, and on the left side you can see the charging time. So charging to 50% is 5 minutes, charging to 75% is 36 minutes, and fully charging to 100% would be 2 hours. Now you don't have to worry because you do not need to charge to 100%. The advantage of these chargers is that mostly they are totally for free, and it's limited to 1 hour, so you can maximum charge 1 hour here, and then you need to drive off because it finishes the charging independently from which percentage you have reached. And this is because people shouldn't be occupying the chargers, and that's also a nice idea, how I think, because like this you do not have the disadvantage of people blocking the chargers. This over there is my former car. This is the car that I used to drive, an M135i, and this is what I traded for this, but not in that black color. So now, here in the summary, almost 20 minutes, we got 5.63 kilowatt hours, and this is more than 10% of the whole battery capacity that the Nissan Leaf has, and we're coming from 40% and arrived at 56% now. Means in 20 minutes exactly now, 16% more. So I have to be honest, you have to get used to these situations of not driving to a gas station, petrol station, filling up your tank within 3 minutes. But if you are planning carefully, with the time, more and more you drive, it will be a lot easier, because if you do your shopping, if you do whatever, you can plug in your car, so you don't have to sit around here. I could even do some shopping, but I already did everything yesterday, so I don't need to, and I'm not standing here for more than 15-20 minutes maximum, just to show you the charging. And so you can combine your daily habits with the charging, and if you do so, and if you learn to do this, then you're not going to have any issues with the charging time, except you have really a low battery and you need to charge because you need to drive somewhere, then yes. Welcome to charging option number 3, the AC 22 kilowatt charger. And we've already had a 22 kilowatt charger, the last one, at the supermarket in the garage, but there is a main difference. These ones have a disadvantage, or it's not these ones, it's the Nissan Leaf that gives this disadvantage, because you're charging with a lot less than comparably to this that we had at the supermarket's garage, because, and that's the main difference, where we charged at the supermarket, this had a CHAdeMO slot, and as we have learned, CHAdeMO gives you the biggest energy from the charger, so 50 kilowatts if it's a DC fast charger, or at least 22 kilowatts if it is an AC charger with a CHAdeMO slot. But as this charger doesn't have a CHAdeMO slot, only an AC charger, the problem is that we only get maximum 6.6 kilowatts, and I explain to you why. So as you can see, that's a different cable, so a smaller one like the CHAdeMO, it's the Type 2 cable that we also can see here being plugged in. So right now you can see it's not the CHAdeMO, it's the smaller Type 2 slot. And the difference is that if we take comparably a Tesla at this charger with a Type 2 cable, he could charge with 22 kilowatts, because there are cars taking 3 phases charging from these AC Type 2 chargers, but the Nissan Leaf unfortunately doesn't. So this means you only get 6.6 kilowatts maximum from these chargers if you do not have a CHAdeMO, because it's charging only 1 phase. So it does 1 phase charging instead of 3 phase charging. That's only a disadvantage if you are planning to charge in cities where you have mostly these Type 2 AC 22 kilowatt chargers, because there the maximum energy that you get is 6.6 kilowatts, but that's not the charger's fault, it's the Nissan Leaf's, because it only can take these 6.6 kilowatts. Just to give you an example, if you go to a shopping mall and you have there one of these AC 22 kilowatt chargers and you plug in and you go do some shopping for about 2 hours and you come back, you're going to get 6.6 kilowatts per hour. So altogether about 13 within these 2 hours. And of course the CHAdeMO is a lot faster, but unfortunately these AC 22 kilowatt chargers do not have the CHAdeMOs, and that's why you only get these 6.6 kilowatts. Well, I think 13 kilowatt is also better than nothing, but it's basically not the fastest way of charging, not comparable to the 22 kilowatt charger at the supermarket, which had a CHAdeMO, and especially not comparable to the DC rapid chargers with the CHAdeMO that you find next to the motorways and highways. The cables are standard in the Nissan Leaf, and they're quite long, so that's an advantage, because sometimes you might be pretty far away, parking pretty far away from the chargers, especially someone else is blocking the charger maybe, and with this length of the cable you always have an advantage. So now this charging isn't the slowest that you can get. There is one last charging possibility, charging option, that is even slower than the AC Type 2 charger. It's the 230 volt power output that you have in your garage and even in your home. As with the Type 2 cable, even this cable is pretty long and comes as a standard with the Nissan Leaf, so that even if you might be a bit far away from your charging cab and the output, it's long enough. It has the same head like the Type 2. charging has already started. There we can see the blue lamps blinking. This way of charging is actually the slowest, but at the same time the most practical, because you always have access to your power output in your garage, if you have a garage. And we shouldn't forget that you should find a solution for your home garage where the energy comes from renewable energies, so solar, wind or water, so that you're not charging with the dirty energy that most of the households have, because they do not have renewable energies, so not receiving their energy from renewable energies. Or the best that you can have is a solar panel on the roof of your garage or house where you can get everything totally for free. And how much does it cost? Just to give you an example, here where I'm based in Munich, you pay about 26 cents for 1 kilowatt hour. If the battery is really empty and you charge it fully to 100%, then it's just about 10 euros and 40 cents for a city range of 300 kilometers. And if you compare it to a combustion engine, you immediately see that the combustion engine will cost you for the same range about 3 times more, even if it doesn't have really a high fuel consumption average. The higher the fuel consumption average is, the bigger the difference will be compared to the Nissan Leaf.
Before you hear my conclusion, one thing is really important now to you if you consider to buy the Nissan Leaf. Ask your car dealer about the delivery time. Many say 8 to 10 months, but the truth is 12 months or more.
What's my conclusion about the Nissan Leaf? Well, it's not that easy. But if a car maker puts a car on the market with that amazing experience of building e-cars without a thermal management in 2018, then they have to live with the critics, and especially nowadays with all that social media where everyone can share his bad experiences with that rapidgate thing. They deserve it. They deserve the criticism, because this car could be perfect. But comparable cars like the Hyundai Ioniq and the BMW i3 have thermal management, and the Nissan Leaf doesn't. So it could happen to you, just like we found out in my rapidgate test, that you're standing at a charger the double time than you expected and the double time than communicated on the Nissan website, 40 minutes from 0 to 80 in your dreams. What I would recommend you to do is sit down, if you are still in love with this car just like me, and think about what's your driver's profile. If your driver's profile is just like my driver's profile is, where you may be charging once or twice a year DC rapid charging, then this rapidgate stuff's not going to touch you at all. And then this car is perfect for you. But if you drive more often longer trips and you depend on rapid charging, the sad it is, but then you shouldn't buy the Nissan Leaf, because I promise you, you're gonna be suffering from that. Just like many people are suffering now who receive the Nissan Leafs and are confronted with that problem of the rapidgate. You also have to know that even if you do not do rapid charging, there is a disadvantage that overheating battery cell temperature, just like 40, 45 or 50 degrees, isn't good over a long period of time for the battery cells. So you also have to know that. But besides this, the car is really, I could also almost say perfect. I mean, the build quality, the spacious interior, the big boot space, the really convincing driving performance, and a good range in city traffic, 300 kilometers. So it's not like the Nissan Leaf is a bad car. Definitely not. If there wasn't that rapidgate, this could be the best EV car right now on the market. But the problem is that looks, driving performance and a nice range and a spacious interior doesn't help you if you are standing at a charger the double time. Little things you can get rid of, just like the cheap halogen lights in the interior, just like the halogen lights in the headlights. Even if you get the full LED headlights, you still have halogen indicators. And yes, the nav from the last century and the bad resolution of the surround view camera, these are things that you can live with. But what many people can't live with is the rapidgate. But still, with the knowledge of this rapidgate issue, I haven't cancelled my order, because I was so convinced about the Nissan Leaf. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, leave me a thumbs up if you like the video, and leave me things in the comment box if you have suggestions, questions, or you're suffering from the rapidgate. Just let me know about it. Thank you very much. That was Carmania with the Nissan Leaf.